they talking real loud, spreading no lie, trying to bring me down. Enemies lurking, but I won't back away. Got a vision in my mind, I'm here to stay. Got my crew beside me, we rise like a tide. When the storm gets rough, we ain't gonna hide. Propaganda swirling, but it won't touch me. Only love around, that's how it's gonna be. Keep moving forward, never looking back. The truth's in the power, it's an unstoppable track. In the city lights where dreams collide, we hustle through the night, fire in our stride. Whispers in the dark can't dim my glow. With rhythm in my soul, I'm ready for the show. We break the chains, rewrite the rules in this concrete jungle where nobody's fools. Unity sings louder than the lies they scheme. In the heart of the struggle, we dare to dream. Keep moving forward, never looking back. The truth's in the power, it's an unstoppable track.
Another Queen Ahmadiyyah production.
Haze on the corner, they talking real loud, spreading no lie, trying to bring me down. Enemies lurking, but I won't back away. Got a vision in my mind, I'm here to stay. Got my crew beside me, we rise like a tide. When the storm gets rough, we ain't gonna hide. Propaganda swirling, but it won't touch me. Only love around, that's how it's gonna be. Keep moving forward, never looking back. The truth's in the power, it's an unstoppable track. In the city lights where dreams collide, we hustle through the night, fire in our stride. Whispers in the dark can't dim my glow. With rhythm in my soul, I'm ready for the show. We break the chains, rewrite the rules in this concrete jungle where nobody's fools. Unity sings louder than the lies they scheme. In the heart of the struggle, we dare to dream. Keep moving forward, never looking back. The truth's in the power, it's an unstoppable track. Haze on the corner, they talking real loud, spreading no lie, trying to bring me down. Enemies lurking, but I won't back away. Got a vision in my mind, I'm here to stay. Got my crew beside me, we rise like a tide. When the storm gets rough, we ain't gonna hide. Propaganda swirling, but it won't touch me. Only love around, that's how it's gonna be. Keep moving forward, never looking back. The truth's in the power, it's an unstoppable track. In the city lights where dreams.
All right. Hello, everyone. Grand Rising. Thanks for tuning back in once again to the original Queen Ahmadiyyah show. I'm your host, Queen Ahmadiyyah, and this is your morning wake-up call. So as you're coming in, please feel free to go ahead and subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. Be sure to click that notification bell and click the word all so you're notified each time the Queen Goddess goes live. Okay, so let's get ready to get into it. First off, let's see who all is in here. All right, hello, Claudette, Pearly, J Love the Queen is in here. Latoya Bell, Lillian X is in the house. Khalid, Harleen, We the People. The elder Barbara Rashad is in here. All right. Above all that drama, Juju B. Shout out to all of my moderators because y'all know they be putting in work. Kristen is here. Leon. All right, let's get into it. Lillian X. Okay. Most hated bronze flat power god, Dangerous. Shawshana. All right. So with that all being said, hey, Shirley. With that all being said, let's have a brief word from my sponsor so we can go ahead and get into these receipts.
Do not buy 12 Tribes on Earth hair growth oil and hair magic elixir unless you want super healthy, gorgeous hair that grows. They have a whole line of amazing hair growth products, including hair growth leave-in conditioner spray, hair growth shampoo, hair growth spray, and hair growth butter. I'm starting to sense a theme here. They include quality natural ingredients. They smell amazing, and you can see the results for yourself. So if you're looking for healthy hair growth for your natural or relaxed hair, try 12 Tribes on Earth today.
Okay, so don't forget you can purchase 12 Tribes hair oil at Etsy.com. Just look for Lisa Crafts. You can also find it at Walmart.com, and she sells a beard oil for men. Okay, so with that all being said, let's get into it. Everybody hit that like button. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. That's the one way you can support the channel absolutely for free. Okay, so now let's talk about Donald Trump because it looks like things aren't going so good. Didn't I tell you all that I love it when the snakes turn against each other and they start fighting and bickering amongst themselves? Well, that's exactly what's going on, because it seems to me that, the Democrats, I mean, sorry, not the Democrats, the Republicans, specifically Trump's. Hold on, beloved. I'm sorry. Okay, sorry. Now, with that all being said, the Republicans, specifically Trump's administration, well, their little scam that they had going, where they thought they were going to actually fool Americans into believing that the reason for the government shutdown was the Democrats, that them being in control, full control, they're not the ones doing all of this and trying to make us think that the Dems are the ones that are the reasons for the SNAP benefits being cut off. But then Trump himself said out of his own mouth that he wanted to end these Democratic plans and programs, and some wouldn't ever come back. So now that they're getting all of this backlash, and by they, I mean the GOP, they're getting all this backlash. People are going in on them, and the whole little scam they thought they would use to trick everyone has been uncovered. Well, now everybody's backing out and pointing the finger. That's what they're all doing. And they're just like, now they're going against Trump. And I'm here for it. I love it, because 2 nights in a row, they voted against him. Okay, so one night, 5 Republicans voted against Trump's tariffs on Brazil. All right, the House Republicans. And then 4 more voted against him for his tariffs on Canada. Okay, so please pay attention. Mitch McConnell, Susan Collins, Lisa Murkowski, and Rand Paul. Okay, Rand Paul sided with the Democrats, and they voted 50 to 46 to end his tariffs against Canada. Yeah, so it looks like everything's just falling apart. I want you all to pay attention. Also, look at this. And one of the biggest breaks from Trump, 14 GOP members tell the Trump administration its plan to up Argentina beef imports undermines American cattle producers. Well, I'm sorry, that's common sense. Okay, you see the 14 signatures there where they signed, but listen, I already told you all that the farmers were very upset. They were saying that Trump sold them out, and I'm sure that many of them voted for Trump, only for him to turn around and stab them in the back. Okay. And, I heard from a little birdie, now I can't substantiate this, but that one of the reasons Trump's showing Argentina favor is because of a nice sized donation, somewhere around $40 million, allegedly, that was gifted to him. Now, I don't know if that's true, but that's what the word on the card is. Okay. So now everybody's backing out. Okay. You even have John Thune, who showed his arse on the Senate floor, by the way, and we'll get to that. He says that he plans to meet with Democrats about ending the shutdown. Yeah, now he's desperate. They're all desperate, okay, and bickering amongst themselves. Now that he's been called out, now he wants to suddenly try to end the shutdown. Okay, things are just not going well. Even Senator Josh Hawley, which I thought was very interesting. Okay, U.S. Senator Josh Hawley introducing bill to save SNAP, opposes Trump's plan to import Argentinian beef. Ah, everyone's turning on him. You see, you give someone like Trump an inch and they'll always take a mile. Even when you use them or think you're going to use them to do dirt to your enemies, your political enemies, your common foe, or whatever, don't be surprised when he doubles back around and does dirt to you too. Because that's how people like him operate. He's just not to be trusted. Now, Democrats just forced a vote to end Donald Trump's national emergency, his emergency declaration against Canada, and put a stop to his asinine trade war with our neighbors to the north. And the Senate passed it. Okay, thanks to you, at Senator Amy Klobuchar. Okay, Senator Tim Kaine. All right, there you have it. And at the bottom it says Donald Trump's tariffs are a national sales tax on Americans, and we're fighting back. Can y'all believe it? They're fed up. Okay, after voting yesterday to end the Trump administration's 50% tariffs imposed on goods entering the United States from Brazil, the U.S. Senate today voted 50 to 46 to end President Donald J. Trump's 25% tariffs on Canada. All right. So, like I said, this whole thing's falling apart. it looks like people are starting to wake up and realize that they don't want to take the blame for the foolishness Trump's doing. And here's another thing. Some of the military are even pushing back. I meant to tell you all that yesterday. Some of the military, they're refusing to engage in this foolishness that Trump's got them, sicking them on the American citizens. Some of them are even over it. Okay. And then you have Josh Hawley and Marjorie Taylor Greene. They're completely over it. Josh Hawley said it's unacceptable. Even MAGA Mike Johnson, okay, voted to relinquish all power that the House has over its Article 1 authority and tariffs. Okay. And tariffs equals taxes. But Mike Johnson won't take this up for a vote. Okay. That's what he won't do. So yeah, they're all upset now. Everybody's just, everyone is just running scared. Now the Republicans can no longer lie. The truth's coming out. They can't hide it any further. They have just got to go ahead and admit that Trump's tariffs are disastrous to our economy and inflation is at an all-time high. Okay, and this is just what it is, and they know it, and they've been knowing it, and I guess they thought they were going to continue to fool everybody. Well, they can fool some of Trump's MAGA cult, but they can't fool everyone else. Okay, please pay attention. Now, with that all been said, let's go to the video where Thune basically, erupts on the Senate floor. Let's get into it. Likes up, everyone, please. Like and share it. Thank you in advance. Here we go.
Let me just point out, if I might, that we are 29 days into a Democrat shutdown. And the senator from New Mexico was absolutely right. SNAP recipients shouldn't go without food. People should be getting paid in this country. And we've tried to do that 13 times. And you voted no 13 times. This isn't a political game. These are real people's lives that we're talking about. And you all have just figured out, 29 days in, that, there might be some consequences. There are people who run out of money. Yeah, we're 29 days in. And they've done their best to make sure that a lot of these programs are funded. But at some point, the government runs out of money. 13 times, people over here voted to fund SNAP. 13 times they voted to fund WIC. My aching back. Finally realized this thing has consequences.
Did y'all hear that? I mean, he went in. He said, you finally realized it 29 days in? Then at the end, did he say his aching back? Is that what he said? My aching back. Okay, I absolutely love it. Now let's go to this report from CBS where they talk about it too, where he says, you just figured this out? I'm here for all of it. Okay? I am absolutely here for it.
Shutdown now entering day 30 as lawmakers continue to point fingers over which party should bear the blame.
And with Congress at a standstill, everyday Americans are feeling the effects. Federal workers are not receiving a paycheck. Food benefits are set to expire for 42 million people on Saturday.
It is causing the usually mild-mannered Senate Majority Leader, John Thune, to fire back, calling out the Democrats for continuing to block the votes to reopen our government.
We are 29 days into a Democrat shutdown. And the senator from New Mexico was absolutely right. SNAP recipients shouldn't go without food. People should be getting paid in this country. And we've tried to do that 13 times. And you voted no 13 times. This isn't a political game. These are real people's lives that we're talking about. And you all have just figured out, 29 days in, that, there might be some consequences.
So, you see some Senate smackdowns, but you don't expect John Thune to be, right in the middle of all of them?
Blame him.
He is unchanged.
Let me tell you all something. Senator John Thune is putting on a good show, okay? Because they're still trying to paint the narrative that the Democrats are the reason for the shutdown when no, I'm sorry, Republicans, we know it's you. Now he's putting on a good show. He's acting like he's so concerned, okay, about the common people, but he isn't. They don't care. They know exactly what they're doing. This is all just a game. He said these are real people's lives. These aren't political games, but yes, they are. And in fact, it absolutely is a political game. The Republicans know exactly what they're doing. This was their plan from day one. They want to get rid of certain Republican programs. They never expected for Trump with his silly self to come out and admit to it in public, because these are closed door, behind the curtain discussions that they've been having about their plots and plans. And oh, we'll blame it on the Democrats. Everyone will blame them. They'll never know that it was us. But yeah, Trump can't keep his mouth shut. And Trump already said what they were planning to do. So now the word is out. So now everybody's scurrying around trying to fix it, do damage control. Thune's sitting there acting like he's so upset and saying, you didn't realize until 29 days in there'd be consequences. We all knew there'd be consequences, him and the Dems as well. So with that all being said, stop the games. They're trying to play mental gymnastics. But let's continue.
Well, I mean, this is an easy fix. We need 5 Democrats to vote with Republicans. That's it, just 5. Are you scared of Chuck Schumer? Why can't 5 of them have the guts to reopen the government? That's all it takes. They could open up the government, get everyone paid. There are 42 million Americans that get SNAP benefits to help them buy their food. That is 1 in every 8 American. The average payment is $350 per month.
So they're behind closed doors, away from leadership. It looks like there is some negotiations going back and forth with Senator Masto, the Democrat from Nevada, and others. Josh Grottheimer said, I listened to what Senator Thune said, and I think it's a fair deal. Let's open up the government. Then Hakeem Jeffries says, well, there's no cracks between people like AOC on the left and people like Gottheimer. No, there's cracks. There's people who are saying this is not worth it. What you want to do is this. There's no way the president's going to go, I have an idea. Let's, being that you held out for 42 days, let me negotiate and keep these price levels at pandemic levels when it comes to health. He's not going to say that. But what you want is guarantees. What could you get in guarantees on the way back? That there'll be substantive talks about extending certain subsidies as it relates to health care over the next 4 weeks before we have another need for a shutdown or a CR. It's got to be in writing, but it's not going to be. I'm telling you right now, the Republicans will not cave on this. This is a pledge to continue to fund the government at Joe Biden's levels that they walked away from. And there's no, even if they were in the majority, I'm telling you right now, Republicans would not be getting anything.
Wasn't it Fetterman that kept calling it the Biden CR?
Yeah.
Because that's exactly what they voted on in March.
Yeah, and it is. And true, as you know, Ainsley, last year, Biden laid out the budget for this year. And that's what we're going on. Right. So that's what with the continuing.
Let me tell you all something. Now, this is my opinion, and I've told you all this before, been telling you all this for years. The Democrats and the Republicans really don't care about any of us. They're playing Hunger Games. Okay, they're not just playing political games, they're playing Hunger Games. And this is what I told you all back in 2020. This is what they're doing. They know exactly what they're doing. They want us all to be out here starving and struggling. Okay? Because then we become desperate. And when we become desperate, we become more compliant with what they want. Okay? And they know this. They also want anarchy in the streets. They want people out there fighting and rioting and looting so they can lock people up, do damage. Okay? And i.e., by damage, I mean like out there beating people, tasing people, just whatever. Okay? And then have people just fighting each other, stealing from each other, going to the stores, robbing, stealing, and all of that out of desperation. And then Trump's going to declare martial law because there will be civil unrest. This is all part of the plan for Trump to bring America to its decline, like I have been telling you. Now, with that all being said, you know, let's go to this next report because they say SNAP benefit shortfall may be the final straw in the shutdown outrage. All right, so let's get into it. And then we're going to listen to what some everyday citizens have to say about all of this.
Exactly that kind of person in right now who is doing what is not popular, what is not easily rewarded. He has voted more than a dozen times against his party because he believes that shutdowns should be illegal and that this is wrong. He is the senator for Pennsylvania, one of the two, of course, Senator Fetterman, and he joins us now. Big man, thank you for joining us.
Oh, Chris, thank you for inviting me on that great town hall. That was a great experience. And thank you for having here. And now I also got a chance to watch Erica Kirk, and how heroic that is, and the courage to after happened to her husband as a widow to be able to get on that stage. Regardless, whatever your political views are, you absolutely have to celebrate and applaud her for the kind of courage to do that now.
What do you say to members of your party who may not say this behind a picture of their own face and name, but they'll say, that's weak what you're doing right now. You've got to fight against these people. These people are the enemy. Stop sane washing them. Stop normalizing them. What do you say?
I would just say it's like, a lot of two things have to be true right now. We have to find a way forward. We're going to agree and disagree with a lot of these things, but I'm going to follow like true, what I think is absolutely true now, like why I've been willing to vote against my party 13 times to not shut our government down. And I just have to follow what I think are truths. And I've been put at the odds with my party at times with following Israel or about securing our border more. But I think what's the response now? All I can do is one vote or my voice through that. And that's why I'm going to continue. And I'm going to participate and speak to everyone. I mean, it's a pleasure to be here with you tonight, or I talk to anybody to have this conversation, because like you said, the marketplace of ideas and free speech, that's how ultimately that needs to prevail. And that's why I'm going to continue to engage in these kinds of conversations.
Do you think you're getting closer to a deal? We hear that the pain is starting to resonate with the different players who may see that it's better to end this. Is that true in your experience?
Well, I sure hope so. Honestly, this is I think we're in a season of two things are true. Now, I do believe that we should extend those tax credits for some folks and make our healthcare a little more affordable for people. But now we have something bearing down. 42 million Americans depend on SNAP to feed themselves and their family. Can you imagine that kind of a stress? And you have air traffic controllers, air traffic controllers not being paid and stretched to their limits, and these kind of mandatory shifts. I find it more and more difficult to even find flights from Pittsburgh here to DC. And, do you really want to stress our aviation system in the nation right now after that tragic here in DCA less than a year ago? I mean, and now the Capitol Police that protect us here, pay them. Our military, it shouldn't have to rely on a generous citizen to donate to pay them. Pay everybody. Open up our
Yeah, that's not going to happen. They're going to do exactly what they want to do. And right now, Trump's filling his pockets. Trump doesn't care about America. He's paying back those favors that he owes to all of his political, not foes, but the political donors or the political people, that have been giving him favors, doing him favors. He owes them. And allegedly he owes Argentina. That's why he's showing them favor at this time and just completely overlooking his own country. All right? Everybody's upset about this shutdown. People are complaining. And I hope you all know that people have already started stealing. They've already started going into the stores, trying to leave out with carts and things. It's real crazy. We're going to get into some of that in just a minute. But before we do, let's talk about what's going on with SNAP in Georgia. Okay, because there's calls in Georgia for state action as SNAP cutoff over the shutdown looms. We're going to get into this. And also, Bill Maher wants to know how come there was no black people at the No Kings protest. Said there wasn't a black person in sight, and that the photographers and the people reporting on it said they couldn't even find any black people in the crowds for them to film. Well, because black people did make it our business. We stayed home for a reason. Y'all voted for Trump, so y'all go and deal with the consequences of his nefarious actions.
Well, this morning, the clock is ticking for millions of Georgians who rely on SNAP benefits. The USDA says it will stop issuing food assistance on November 1st if the government shutdown continues. And some lawmakers are proposing plans to fill gaps for those who rely on those benefits. Ariana Manise is live from the newsroom this morning. So, Ariana, we know these are lifeline benefits for so many families. What are local lawmakers hoping to do to keep the food on the table?
That's right, Jonathan. Local lawmakers are formulating plans to assist families as roughly 1.4 million Georgians are at risk of losing food assistance this week. Fulton County Commission Chairman Rob Pitts is proposing up to $1 million in emergency funds. Chairman Pitts is asking the board to approve the plan to move local funds to feed residents impacted by the shutdown. Pitts is asking the city manager to come up with up to $700,000 to $1 million in emergency funding. $500,000 will go to the county's community services program, which partners with 9 nonprofits to fight food insecurity. Another $150,000 would support the winter farmers market, senior center nutrition programs, and home delivered meals. The remaining $50,000 would expand food distribution through the county's Fulton Fresh program. We spoke to a mother who says that this would really help her to be able to continue to feed her family.
It gives me the comfort of knowing that they won't go to sleep hungry and that they won't be hungry all day. It's very much needed, as well as a mother, single mother of 4 that has to work and utilize my funds to pay for child care, extracurricular activities. It will make sure that I know my kids have a healthy meal.
And we're really seeing food banks try to step up as much as they can, as you see where she is right now. Now, Chairman Pitts says the board could vote on this plan as soon as next week. Also happening today, we're going to hear from advocates and experts. They'll hold a virtual press conference at 10 a.m. where they'll discuss the next steps state lawmakers can take to keep SNAP benefits flowing through November. Jonathan.
Yeah, Ariana, time is really of the essence as we are approaching November 1st very soon. How quickly could families see the benefits if Fulton County passes their plan?
Well, Chairman Pitts says that if the board does approve this emergency funding, their money could be distributed as early as November 5th, just days after SNAP benefits are expected to stop. That means there will be no gap in food assistance for Fulton County residents who really rely on these programs, Jonathan.
All right, we'll see how this all plays out, hopefully for the best for everyone. Ariana, thank you so much. And for anyone who relies on SNAP, just text the word resources to 404-885-7600. We'll send a link directly to your phone for a list of all of the available help. It is 7.
All right, you all see that. So at least they're trying to help their people here in Georgia. Okay, it's all a disaster. Now, Mel says this is all a setup so Trump can say, try to say it's an insurrection. That's what I'm trying to tell you. He wants people out here looting in the streets. He wants anarchy and chaos so that he can declare martial law. Okay, that's about the size of it for me. That's exactly what I think. Now, meanwhile, Bill Maher wants to know why the hell there was scarcely a black face at the No Kings protest. Let's get into it. Likes up, everyone, please like and share. Thank you in advance. He has questions. That's the overlay I'm going to use.
A lot of people did come out. It's probably not a lot of actual practical effect. And some of these people faked it, and they said they went, and they really didn't. And I'm sure some did. But but it's not like they didn't have a point with the No Kings. I mean, that is basically a valid point to make about the whole king thing. Here's a question that I saw, I did not realize until it hit the news a lot, was that it was very white. What do you make of that? That the guy in Baltimore, the paper there said, we struggled to, our photographer, to find a picture of black people in this march. I'm okay with that. I didn't go, and I feel like, well, you talk.
Well, we had a meeting.
Yeah, go ahead. Yes.
And let's just say it didn't go too well for white folks. That's all. No, look, I look at that. That to me that's a distraction for me to go down that road, because the No Kings piece is very different from another piece that question I think gets to. And that is the relationship that broke with Democrats and the African American community in the last cycle, particularly with black women. And so I think the No Kings thing, I would set that aside, because, you look at the fact that in the first version of that, 5 million Americans showed up. This version, 7+ million. That's a trend line that you pay attention to.
Okay, you all heard that. He said, why was no black people there? Well, black people are disinterested. Okay, we just didn't feel like it was our responsibility. Now, meanwhile, this is something else I forgot to tell you all. Trump, after the No Kings protest, he was gifted a golden crown by Korea. Okay, so I want you all to see this. That's the last thing they should have given that clown. Okay, he's presented with a golden crown, and South Korea's highest national honor. Hold on.
Great honor, and we're going to keep it very good. Korea is very, very special. We have a very great relationship, and it will continue and only get stronger. Thank you very much.
대단히 감사합니다. 소중히 간직하겠습니다. 한국과 미국은 아주 강력한 동맹관계이고 앞으로도 이것을 통해서 더욱더 굳건한 동맹관계가 지속될 것으로 생각합니다.
That is really beautiful. I'd like to wear it right now. Thank you so much. We'll cherish it. Thank you very much, everybody. Appreciate it.
소중히 간직하겠습니다. 대단히 감사합니다.
다음은 이재명 대통령께서 첫 대통령을 위해 준비하신 선물입니다.
Next is a gift from President Lee Jae-myung to President Trump.
한반도를 최초로 통일한 고대 왕국 신라의 대표들이 있는 천마총 금관입니다.
This is the Cheonmachong gold crown, which is a key artifact that represents the Silla dynasty, the first Korean kingdom to unite the Korean peninsula.
천마총 금관은 현존하는 신라의 금관 6점 중에 가장 화려하고 큰 금관입니다.
This gold crown is the largest and most extravagant of the 6 existing gold crowns from the Silla period.
천마총 금관은 하늘의 권위, 지상의 통치를 연결하는 신성함, 그리고 지도자의 강력한 리더십과 권위를 승진합니다.
The Cheonmachong gold crown symbolizes the divine connection between the authority of the heavens and sovereignty on earth, as well as the strong leadership and authority of a leader.
경주를 국빈으로 찾으신 우리 트럼프 대통령님께 한반도에 처음으로 평화를 가져온 신라의 정신과 함께 한미 동맹의 황금기를 상징하는 이 금관을 선물로 준비하였습니다.
We present this gold crown to you on this joyous occasion of your state visit to Gyeongju, because it symbolizes the spirit of Silla, which brought peace to the Korean peninsula for the first time, and the opening of the golden age of the Korea-U.S. alliance.
Did you all hear that? Did you all hear that? What a mess. They gave that crown with all that it meant and stands for and represents to Trump. I am shocked and appalled. Okay? I am absolutely shocked and appalled. And then Perplex says, what? What he promised them folks. Yeah, that's what I'd like to know. And then the part where they said that crown was like something symbolic of heaven and sovereignty on earth. Is that what they said? So this is supposed to be something that's like not only religious or spiritual, but and righteous, something for someone righteous, and they gave it to Trump. They presented it to him. I'm surprised he didn't take it out of the box and put it on his head right then and there. I bet he was ecstatic. Can y'all believe it? Because I surely cannot. After all of this damage he's doing, he really has these people fooled from the sounds of it. Or maybe he's promised them something. You never know. Because think about it. Remember how I told you all that Trump said he ended all those wars, 8 wars and all that? Did I tell you all what he did? Hold on, let's go to it. Likes up, everyone. He's going to tell you how he actually ended the conflict between India and Pakistan. Hold on. No. I'm sorry. Cambodia and Thailand. This is what he said he did. I want y'all to listen to this. What he did is literally called economic coercion. That's what I call it. Economic coercion. So let's listen to this. And he said that nobody else thought of it. Well, you know what? Yeah, you're right, Trump. Nobody else thought of it because no other president's running their country like a mafia crime figure. Okay? That's why nobody else thought of it. And mind you, what he did is perfectly legal. He absolutely, it is legal what he did, but it's just interesting that this is what he thought of.
What? Prime Minister Modi is the nicest looking guy. He says, oh, and he looks like you'd like to have your father, like, he's a killer. He's tough as hell. No, we will fight. I said, whoa, this is the same man that I know. But after a little while, and they're good people, and after literally 2 days, they called up and they said, we understand, and they stopped fighting. How is that? Isn't that amazing? Now, you think Biden would have done that? I don't think so. Most people wouldn't have thought of it, but, you know, they wouldn't have thought of it. No, but here we are, we're doing deals. So you add an extra sentence, and you say you have to stop shooting at each other. 7 planes were shot down. You have to stop the war. And they stopped the war. And if it weren't for the tariffs, I said I was going to put 250% tariffs on each country, which means that you'll never do business. In other words, there's nothing you can sell for 250%. That means that's a nice way of saying we don't want to do business with you. You don't have to say that because that's a nasty, we don't want to do business. No. You say we're going to put 250% tariffs if you don't stop the war. And they understood that, and within 48 hours.
So that's what Trump says he did, you all. Trump says that he told them if they didn't stop shooting at each other, that he was going to impose 215% taxes or tariffs. I'm sorry. Y'all heard that? He said that's what made them stop. And he said nobody else thought of that. Well, you know, like I said, that's probably true. No other president thought to use economic coercion to get people to do what he wanted them to do so that he could win the Nobel Peace Prize. Because that's why he was doing it. He wasn't doing it to help them. Okay, he wasn't doing it to help the citizens or to show, you know, some sort of humane efforts or whatever to be a peacemaker because he's such a kind and considerate person. He was doing all of this stuff so he could win the Nobel Peace Prize and was using coercion to do so. Okay? All right. But anyway, I mean, if he got them to stop shooting at each other, I guess that's a good thing, right? Marjorie says, I'm sorry, but he didn't think to do it. I'd be looking at Miller and Vance. You already know, beloved. Yeah, you already know. Okay? Dark Titan said Dementia Donnie always loves to be a pathological liar. He can't help it. That's what he can't do. He can't help it, beloved. Okay, so now let's go to what some people are saying about Trump. With this whole thing he's got going on with the government shutdown, SNAP, and all of that. People are literally snapping over SNAP, okay? Please pay attention. Now, here we go. I'm going to share my screen because some people are talking about, you know, they're using hunger as a weapon. They're using food as a weapon of destruction. Okay, so let's get into it. And there are some people that are really literally crashing out for real, like having whole fits. Okay, likes up, everyone, please like and share. Thank you in advance. I told you all yesterday we're living in a whole episode of Good Times. Living in a whole new episode of Good Times. One where Florida's in charge, not James. Okay, here we go. People are really fed up. It's getting scary, folks.
Going all of my fucking life. Oh my God, fuck. Can life just get fucking easy? Just for like a year, just for a little bit, you think at some point life is just supposed to be like better. You work your fucking ass off at every turn of your fucking life. There's another fucking obstacle. Oh my God, please, please help us all. What the fuck is going on? I'm tired of struggling all of my fucking life. Oh my God.
Now, let me tell you all something. Now, that right there, that's hilarious. And why it's hilarious is because maybe we all should be acting that way, all crashing out. But here's the thing. We've had to deal with this stuff for all of our lives, and so we're like used to it. We're like used to a struggle. And also, in the words of Frederick Douglass, without struggle, there can be no progress. Okay, there is no progress without struggle. So I find it so interesting that he's throwing this tantrum, literally blowing a whole gasket because things are going bad. And we're just a few days in, sir. It's going to get worse. So if this is his reaction thus far, wait until the ish really hits the fan. See, these people are crashing out because they're not used to dealing with the things we're used to dealing with. Okay? They're just not used to dealing with it. We've always had to find a way to make do. And some of these people are losing it, just like I told you they would. Okay, this is what Trump has done to his own people while he thought he was going to take us down. But look who really is falling out, crashing out, snapping over snap. Okay, please pay attention. This is not a pretty sight.
Can take before they finally snap, and I think we're getting real damn close. Because the ones at the bottom, the ones holding everything together, we're the ones getting crushed the hardest. We're the ones waking up tired, working 2 jobs, barely keeping the lights on while the people at the top play Monopoly with our lives. They keep squeezing tighter and acting like it'll just never backfire. But what happens when the people who actually make the world run just stop showing up? Because it's not CEOs delivering packages or flipping burgers or wiring homes or building the roads that they drive on. It's us, the ones that they call replaceable, the ones that they underpay and overwork. The ones that have been told to just be grateful for the scraps. But here's the truth. If every broke, burnt out, fed up person in this country just stopped working for 1 week, everything would shut the fuck down. Every supply chain, every store, every service, everything. We have the numbers and we have the power. We've just been too tired and divided to use it. And that's the part that they're scared of. Because deep down, they know that the second the working class remembers its worth, the whole system collapses overnight.
Y'all heard that? He said it's only so much people can take before they snap. And this is all true. Okay, now he's come up with a whole plan to how we can just bring this all to an end. The same plan that I've been telling y'all for 5 years, okay? The same plan that I've been telling y'all for 5 years. Yeah, they are pretty desperate. Okay, but let's keep going because I'm absolutely loving it. Wait till we get to the part where you see how people are out here just stealing. Going out here and taking whatever they want, honey. They're not having it. All bets are off at this point.
Start seeing lack of access to resource as a type of violence. Intentionally cutting off access to food for 40 million Americans is violence, and people will die. There will be more theft of things like groceries and basic necessities. And I want you to follow the same adage that I would tell anyone else. If it's a chain, it's free reign. When they use terms like subsidies to give companies billions of dollars in taxes, but intentionally use the word welfare for humans that actually need it, that is violence. Economics that treat people as externalities that can be lost or gained instead of human beings is violence. You need to start seeing.
Okay, he said it's violence, and they're coming up with these new terms. They're talking about food insecurity. I wonder why they just don't call it what it is: hunger, famine. Food insecurities. I guess that sounds much nicer to them.
One of these people who goes on social media and complains about a poor family using their SNAP benefits to buy themselves a treat like Oreos for their children or Dr. Pepper from time to time to give themselves a little bit of joy, then I want to politely inform you that you are a cunt and can eat it. If you're one of these people who goes on social media and complains about a poor family,
Yeah, sadly, there are some people who are complaining about stuff like that, which I find to be so crazy. Okay, I find to be so crazy. But let's continue. Likes up, everyone, please. Like and share. Thank you in advance. Now let's go to the videos of these people out here stealing. It's all crazy. West Bridgewater, Massachusetts, police arrest and charge 2 women following shoplifting assault at Market Basket Supermarket. An employee saw the 2 women hide lobster, ribeye steaks, and truffle butter in a bag and then leave without paying. And they were confronted. Y'all hear it? This is what people are out here doing. They're out here stealing steaks and lobster. Let me tell you something. If you're hungry, why do you have to be out here stealing the top of the line stuff? Steaks and lobsters. Now, was she stealing this to eat it or to go sell it? Was she stealing this to eat it or to go sell it? I have questions. Because steaks and lobsters.
Chief Timothy Nixon announced that 2 women were arrested by the West Bridgewater Police Department on Sunday after an incident involving assault and shoplifting at a local supermarket. Olivia L. Bird, 37, of Quincy, and Rahjane J. Bird, 28, of Hyde Park, face charges of assault and battery with a dangerous weapon, assault and battery shoplifting by asportation disorderly conduct at around 5 p.m. on Sunday, October 26. Police responded to a report of a disturbance at a supermarket located at 352 West Center Street. Multiple 911 callers reported that 2 customers were physically fighting with store employees. According to investigators, an employee witnessed 2 women hiding expensive food items, including lobster meat, prime ribeye steaks, and truffle butter, inside a bag while shopping. The pair allegedly failed to pay for the items and were confronted by store staff. The women, later identified as Olivia and Rahjane Bird, reportedly became combative, shouted obscenities, and assaulted 2 employees before being taken into custody without further incident. Both suspects were arraigned Monday in Brockton District Court and released on personal recognizance. All charges are allegations, and the defendants are presumed innocent until proven guilty in court.
Not presumed innocent until proven guilty in court. Do you all hear this? This is a darn shame. This is what Trump has gotten people to. Okay, this is where people are, folks, out here stealing. But they aren't the only ones, and they won't be the last. Okay, because here's some more people just out here stealing. You know, people just got to have their food. Y'all know if it's anything people got to steal for, it's food. Pay attention.
Here they come with the bullshit. You fucking hoodlum. This is some straight ER shit. People was already moving like survival mode. You have this white lady with a basket full of groceries leaving a store in the parking lot. You have this black big ham hock robbing her and stealing her shit. Look at this. What the fuck? I I mean, damn, woman, will you just let her do this shit? Why is people so scared to start punching motherfuckers in their face? Why I say it might get a little ugly. People might have to go get their pew-pew. Lady, you got all this energy, but to just go get a job. Nigga, go get a part-time job. I know it's easier said than done. That's why I'm saying it. Lady, you going to jail. You going to jail. My thing is, this about to be a lot of hard times for a lot of people. But what I'm saying is like, damn, I feel like we need to be together, you know what I'm saying? We don't need to be robbing each other. Why we ain't robbing the corporate? Bitch, you that brave? You should have just went into the grocery store and ran out with a basket full of shit. Watch, they gonna make an example out of it. Like, oh yeah, and it was a black person that did this first. Oh yeah, we gonna show y'all. Don't try to run.
It's a darn shame. Somebody said this video is old. Is it? Because he just posted this. It looks like yesterday. Maybe he maybe he reused it. But nonetheless, that's still crazy work. Why are you stealing that lady's food? Bigger question is, why was the woman allowing her to do it? Why was she just standing there trying to record her? Girl, that's crazy. Okay, honey, you're not gonna just take, and it was a lot of meat too, so I'm sure that was well over hundreds of dollars worth of stuff. Honey, she would have got dealt with real quick had that been me, honey. Okay, you better go in there and get your own.
Don't you touch that! The president said I can have this food! Let go of the handle, ma'am. Step back from the cart. You're being detained. Detained? I'm a citizen. He said groceries are free now. Turn around. Hands behind your back. I ain't doing nothing wrong. Get off me. Y'all thieves. Cuff coming on. Relax your arm. You're arrested. Ma'am, stop the cart. Don't you touch that! The president said I can have this food! Let go of the handle, ma'am. Step back from the cart. You're being detained. Detained? I'm a citizen. He said groceries are free now. Turn around. Hands behind your back. I ain't doing nothing wrong. Get off me. Y'all thieves. Cuff coming on. Relax your arm. You're arrested. Ma'am, stop.
Did y'all see that? I'm so done. I am so done. She said, y'all see that? Getting arrested for food. MK said, let go of the handle, ma'am. Let me tell y'all something. I was trying to be funny because I think that was an AI video. But it had me hollering. So I had to show y'all that one. But this is what people are doing, though. Seriously. People are definitely out here stealing. Let me tell you something. Hold on. Let me tell you something. Now, that was AI. And let me tell you all how you can notice when it's AI, because you'll hear one or two people talking, and the other people will be standing around not doing anything, no reaction. You might hear shouting from the background, but the people that you can physically see, they're just standing there not doing anything, not saying a word, as if they just don't see what the hell's going on. I think that might have been AI, but that was hilarious. I am so done. But seriously, listen, are they going to withhold SNAP food stamps starting November the 1st? Let's talk about it. A judge ruled yesterday that they have to release those benefits to the public. Okay, I mean, Mel said that was funny, Queen. Okay, I had to show y'all that. But AI is so realistic looking. That's how you know it's dangerous, okay? You have to really be paying attention to know it's fake.
This is an important cup of tea. A whole lot of y'all have reached out to me today about the news that's spreading that people that receive SNAP benefits will not receive their benefits starting November 1st. SNAP benefits, EBT, that is food stamps. And yes, a letter was sent to states to tell them to withhold releasing funds to recipients, dear. And in that letter, they were talking about the shutdown. But that's not what's going on. No, baby, I've got the entire cup of tea. So what you may not know is that back in May, the current regime sent letters all across the US of A to the SNAP departments, to the EBT departments, requesting data on EBT recipients, those who receive food stamp benefits, going all the way back, this is important, all the way back to 2020.
Now, I want you all to pay attention to what she's saying, because she's implying that they were trying to gather and collect data on SNAP recipients. Okay, for the past 5 years, all the way back for the past 5 years. What did they want this data for? Pay attention.
Now, what was going on in the United States in 2020? The flupocalypse. And because of the flupocalypse, people in the United States were receiving SNAP benefits that had never received SNAP benefits before under emergency SNAP benefits. Millions of Americans who had never received SNAP benefits before were receiving them because we were in a national emergency because of the flupocalypse. Just like people who had never before qualified for unemployment because they were 1099 employees were receiving unemployment benefits because we were in a crisis here. Okay. So it's safe to say that a whole lot of the people who started freshly and newly receiving benefits in 2020 are no longer receiving those benefits anymore because that emergency is over. Right? Right. Now, blue states refute 27 states turned over that data. Red states, they turned over that data to the federal government about who in their state receives these SNAP benefits. And this isn't regular data. This is all your personal information. You see, we already give data to the federal government about SNAP benefits, not the names of the people who receive it or their home addresses or their social security numbers or all that other stuff that you put on those applications. Just data about how many people are receiving the benefits and what the amounts are. That's normal. But asking for all this personal data is not normal. And blue states came out to say, nope, we're not sending you this data because this is just another play by this regime to collect data on Americans for surveillance for immigration operations. And they refused to send in that private data to the current regime. And it pissed off the current regime, dear. It did. It pissed them off because legally, these states don't have to turn over that data. They don't have to. Nope, they don't have to. And it's pissed off the current administration. So in a play to try to force Democratic states to hand over your private information, they're threatening to withhold benefits. And it's an empty threat because the federal government doesn't have the authority to come into your state and force EBT to withhold your benefits. However, alarm bells should be going off for you today if you are living in a red state, because these 27 red states complied right away in May and handed over that data to the regime. So there's no reason to believe that those red states wouldn't once again comply with the administration and withhold those benefits. Now, if you live in a red state, your red state actually has the right to deny this request legally and still issue you your EBT benefits, dear. They don't have the right to stop it in any kind of way. We're going to have to see how this plays out today. But it's making the current regime look very, very guilty, honey. That they're just wanting to collect data, just like blue states said, for their little immigration and surveillance plays. And imagine the amount of data on Americans they would receive through EBT going all the way back to 2020. They would receive data and personal private information on American citizens who no longer even receive these benefits, dear.
They specifically would, and they would definitely get a lot of information on those immigrants, because remember how many people were complaining, specifically Black people, I do believe, when the immigrants were getting like $13,000 worth of food stamps per month and $4,000 and $5,000 on their EBT cards for cash. Do you all remember that? They were getting all of that stuff due to the pandemic, and we're likely still getting it way after. Okay, so that's absolutely why they want to collect this data, because they're trying to get all of them up out of here and also trying to catch people in welfare fraud too. Please pay attention.
It would be a huge data haul, wouldn't it? But either way, from everything that I can find today, they legally cannot stop you from receiving your benefits. They can't claim it's a shutdown, because that wouldn't cause you to not receive your benefits, Tia. They can't claim anything, really, at all, as a legal reason to keep people from receiving their benefits. They can't say that it's, they're trying to sort out fraud and waste either. That's not an excuse for withholding funds from people who are not.
That's right. Okay, and so that's another thing, like I said, with the fraud. They want to use that, as an excuse also not to give people their benefits. They're just doing a whole lot of lying and just engaging in corrupt practices, and all in an effort to have people just out here starving, and to make it hard for people, and to take, to violate people's rights. And even with this whole thing with the immigrants, they're doing these people dirty. Okay, that's exactly what they're doing. And it's so sad that many of these people voted for Trump at the end of the day, and this is the thanks they get. But it's crazy that they voted for him. And a lot of these Cuban people specifically thought they were going to get a little favor like they've always been getting. They thought they were going to be exempt. And so they voted for Trump, knowing he's racist, knowing how he acts, knowing how he thinks, but just thinking they don't care because it's not going to happen to them until it happened to them. Now they're all looking crazy. Okay, now they're all looking crazy. Now, Skeletor fan says she has a Blanche Devereaux type voice. Yeah, she did sound like Blanche Devereaux, beloved, but she also looked like a younger version of Blanche Devereaux, in my opinion. I thought that was interesting. Okay, so now let's keep going because there's another person complaining.
Is this how good it's supposed to be? Is this how our lives are supposed to turn out? If you go to college, you got debt until you're 50. If you don't go to college, you don't make enough money. People are fucking tired, man. I was talking to a friend. He's like, I don't even care about getting a paycheck anymore because it's like a slap in the face. You get your fucking paycheck and it's gone the same day, usually gone within an hour. And the minute you pay the bills, but they're already late, then you get an email saying your other bill's ready to be viewed. I couldn't afford the first bill. Now electric's gonna go up, interest rates are going up, energy's going up. Most people don't even want to fucking be here anymore. You wonder why people go to the doctor for mental health problems. You wonder why people are breaking down. Why people go to work and snap. What the fuck are we doing, man?
Now that's the second person who doesn't look like me that said something about snapping. Pay attention. And then also he just said, and I'm concerned because he just said it's making people not want to be here. Now, is he talking about be here in America or be here in this world? Okay, because I told you all yesterday, when things start getting like this, some of these people are not going to be able to take it. They start thinking about doing things. And I said, I don't have to say what it is, but y'all know what I'm talking about. Some people think some people start thinking about taking a permanent solution to temporary problems. Sadly, this isn't a laughing matter. At the end of the day, when that guy was talking about in the video, when that guy was talking about people are going to be dying, yeah, not just from starvation. Okay, some people are going to be, getting up out of here. Do y'all remember back in 2020 during the pandemic when a lot of people couldn't work because they were having, everything was shut down or whatever, and only the essential workers were going to work, and people were being laid off, and some people were getting fired because they wouldn't get the venom, and all of the stuff that was going on, and a lot of people were getting depressed and upset and angry. Do you all remember that? People were stressed out. There were a lot of people who were leaving up out of here, going to ask for their wings. You all remember the man who took out himself and his whole family, like 5 people, his son who was a Rhodes Scholar recipient. Okay, all of his children, his wife, and himself, because he had a master's degree and had lost his job and couldn't believe it in California. Okay, so this is what it looks like. Some people can't take it when things start to fall apart. They're not used to dealing, with grief and struggle and lack and not having everything right there at their beck and call. when they need it, having to struggle and wonder where they're going to get their next meal from, how they're going to keep a roof over their heads, how they're going to put gas in their car. Some people are not used to dealing with these things. And when they find themselves dealing with these situations, they don't know how to handle it. Okay, so Black people, this is at one point when you should be thanking all praises to the Most High that you know how to struggle. Okay, that you've had to go through things to know how to survive and endure. Now, some Black people have not, but most of us have. Absolutely have. Okay, like some, everyone please like and share.
You live in a country that can't pay people to fucking feed themselves or to fucking have health care. But we got all the fucking goddamn money in the world for rich ass motherfuckers to come into Union goddamn Station and have a whole ass fucking ball. Look at that black tie affair, fucking catered event, blocking off half the goddamn. You don't get to eat food. You don't get housing. You don't get education. You don't get health care. Rich motherfuckers get everything they want in this country. I'm so goddamn pissed right now. Imagine you live in a country that can't pay people to fucking feed themselves or to.
Well, he's mad. Okay, he's mad. You heard what he said, right? He's going in on the rich. So it's very interesting that, you know, it seems like for once, a lot of people who don't look like me are starting to see that it's the rich people, the elite people, the 1% that run everything. That is the problem. Remember how I always tell you all that these people that are in these positions of power, the only thing they give to poor white people is the fact that at least you're not an N-word. They don't care any more about them than they do anybody else. It's just the tactic of divide and conquer, keep on spewing racism so that we're down here fighting and bickering amongst ourselves while they maintain and keep control, because that's how they do it. Because it's very hard to control the masses when the masses are all unified and thinking the same way, okay, and moving forward in the same way, lockstep in unison. But when you have the masses divided and everyone bickering amongst themselves and at each other's throats, you know, just warring amongst themselves, then they're not looking at the big picture. They're not looking at the real problem, the real enemy, because they're distracted. And that's the distraction that people need to be more concerned about. When some of y'all say, oh, that's a distraction, that's a distraction. You can't tell me about a distraction because most of y'all don't even see and realize what the real distractions even are. Okay? At the end of the day. Now, with that all being said, let's go to this video right here. This next video. Like up, everyone, please like and share. Thank you in advance.
Right answer to the U.S.-Canada relationship on trade is to go back to the table on USMCA, find anything that hasn't worked, anything that can be made better, negotiate and make it better.
The joint resolution passed 50 to 46. It's the latest in a series of votes this week to terminate the national emergencies that Trump is using to impose the tariffs. But ultimately, it's a symbolic move. House Republicans have passed new rules preventing the resolution from getting a vote in the House.
The right answer.
Okay, here we go. We're going to go to this video where Chicago Mayor Brandon Johnson, remember how I told you all yesterday, I reported to you how he was calling for a general strike. Okay, and that's absolutely what people need to do. But I want you all to see the speech when he said that.
Chicago calling for a strike. Watch this.
There are some billionaires and corporate leaders that want us to have sympathy for them, and they have just received the greatest tax cuts at the expense of healthcare and housing and education and transportation and good paying jobs. So here's what we need to do in this moment. If my ancestors as slaves can lead the greatest general strike in the history of this country, taking it to the ultra-rich and big corporations, we can do the same today. I'm calling on black people, white people, brown people, Asian people, immigrants, gay people from around this country to stand up against tyranny and to send a clear message to the ultra-rich and big corporations. We are going to make them pay their fair share in taxes to fund our schools, to fund jobs, to fund healthcare, to fund transportation.
how you lead, Brandon. From now on, that's how you lead. Y'all heard what the fuck he said. Stop spending your goddamn money with these corporations. If our ancestors could do it while they getting dog sick on them and they got fire hoses being put on their ass, we can do it too. Ain't no excuse, because ain't that motherfucker getting whipped, chained up, none of that shit. Stop spending your money with these bitches. Let them get taxed and pay for all of our shit, because we've been paying for all they shit. All they luxury life they've been living, yeah, we've been paying for all that shit. It's time for them to pay for our motherfucking health care, our schooling, our transportation, all that shit. It's time to strike. There ain't never been a better time to strike than right now. It don't make no fucking sense that millionaires and billionaires are getting permanent tax cuts while the middle class and lower class are losing every fucking thing. Every fucking thing that helps us keep afloat in this punk ass country they taking from us. Nah, we ain't going out like that. We ain't going out like that. Yeah, you corporations ain't getting a nan nothing out of them. Okay? You ain't getting another nan nothing out of me.
All right, did y'all hear that? Don't your souls feel invigorated after hearing Brandon Johnson make that speech? Don't y'all feel amped up and pumped up? Don't y'all feel like William Wallace in Braveheart in the last scene? Aren't y'all ready to do battle by saving your dollars? Okay? And boycotting these folks and striking these corporations? Isn't that what y'all feel? And for anybody that's confused, let me just tell you again that a general strike is not like a regular strike. A regular strike is like, it may be people that are in the auto industry, Ford or whatever, they might be on strike. But in a general strike, it's people across all different industries. Okay, no matter what industry you're in, people out here striking until they get what they want, what they're demanding. And this is absolutely the time to do it. The time is now. Okay, please pay attention. So what do you all have to say about all of this? What do you all think? Hold on, beloveds. Okay. With that all being said, Pearlie said, I've been ready, Queen. All right. Leon said the biggest welfare queen is corporations. That's a good one. Shoshana said, I rarely agree with Brandon, but he's correct. Do you live in Chicago, beloved? Do you live in Chicago? Okay, now listen. Listen, also, Trump is talking about doing away with transgender care. We're going to get into that in a second, but also I want you all to see this video where he was with Xi Jinping. Trump, that is. Okay, let me share my screen. Likes up, everyone, please like and share. Thank you in advance. And Xi looks so annoyed, in my opinion.
Mr. President, the President of the people.
Hold on.
Mr. President, the President of the People's Republic of China.
Good to meet you. Great pleasure to see you again. Good to see you again. Me too.
And we're going to have a very successful meeting, I have no doubt. But he's a very tough negotiator. That's not good. We know each other well.
Mr. President, do you plan to sign a trade deal today?
Could be. I think we'll have a great understanding. We have a great relationship. We've always had a great relationship.
Will you discuss Taiwan with her?
Which way? Thank you very much, everybody. Please.
Wait, everybody else is going to the meeting. Everybody else. No. Everybody stay. Stop.
Okay, so there you have it. You have it.
Okay, so now do you all notice how it was just my opinion that Xi Jinping looked like he was just so annoyed? Okay, looked like he was just so annoyed and like he just knows Trump was being so fake and full of BS. Because that's exactly what Trump is. Okay? Just fake and full of BS. And then talking about the man's a good negotiator and that's bad. Yeah, because Trump, your game's not gonna work on him. Okay? Lillian said he looked that way to me. All right. Purplex said he was queen. Yeah, that man was so annoyed. He was looking at Trump's silly butt with a whole side eye. All right. He knows he's full of it. Now, listen to this. Let's talk about it because Trump pushes an end to medical care for transgender youth nationally. Now, y'all know this is going to stir some problems. So, access to gender-affirming care for transgender youth will be dramatically restricted by the Trump administration under new proposals by the Department of Health and Human Services. So, they say NPR has obtained the draft text of a proposed rule that would prohibit federal Medicaid reimbursement for medical care provided to transgender patients under or younger than age 18. It also prohibits reimbursement through the Children's Health Insurance Program, or CHIP as it's known, for patients under age 19. An additional proposed rule would even go further, blocking all Medicaid and Medicare funding for any services at hospitals that provide pediatric gender-affirming care. Why would they have pediatric affirming gender care? Like, that's real scary. Okay, the rules are being prepared for public release in early November, according to an employee at the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services. The employee asked that NPR not use their name because they fear professional retribution for speaking to the media without authorization. Now, an HHS spokesperson did not respond to requests for comments about the planned timing of the proposed rules release. So both supporters and opponents of transgender rights agree that taken together, the forthcoming rules could make access to pediatric gender-affirming care across the country extremely difficult, if not impossible. The care is already banned in 27 states. Okay, yeah, I'm not here for pediatric gender-affirming care either. Pediatric means kids. Okay. Now, these rules would be a significant escalation in the Trump administration's attack on access to transgender health care. This is what Katie Keith, director of the Center for Health Policy and the Law at Georgetown University, says, saying that I think it's really, really important to note that nothing is changing immediately. These would be proposals that would go out for public comment, and it would take months for the Trump administration to issue a final rule. And then, if passed, its prologue, then we would see litigation over whatever the final rules are. So in his first days in office, President Trump signed an executive order declaring that the United States would not fund, sponsor, promote, assist, or support the so-called transition of a child from one sex to another. Now, in the months since HHS released a report critical of the research that supports access to this care, a federal self-deletion prevention lifeline specifically for transgender youth was canceled, as were hundreds of millions of dollars in scientific research funding related to LGBTQ people. Federal health officials warned state Medicaid directors to tread carefully, and the Department of Justice announced subpoenas of some children's hospitals and threatened providers with prosecutions. And now they say, I think these restrictions are very good. This is what Terry Schilling of the forthcoming rules. Okay, Schilling is president of the American Principles Project, a conservative advocacy group, saying that it's going to change the entire transgender industry, and it's going to take away a lot of their funding streams. Now, he points to an opinion poll from the spring, which found 66% of the public opposes Medicaid coverage for this type of care for young people. How do you all feel about this? What do you all think? They say they believe if you want to get some type of sex trait modification procedure, you should have to pay for it, Schilling says. The American people are not fully behind this effort. So, what do y'all have to say about it? I mean, this is real lengthy. I'm not going to read all of this, but what do y'all think? Should they use Medicaid to pay for such things? What do y'all think about that? I don't think so. Because to me, that falls under the categorization of cosmetic work. Okay, that's not something that has to be done. That's not something that's, for a life-saving measure or for some illness that someone has. So in my opinion, it should not be used for that because that's cosmetic surgery, in my opinion. Okay, that's what that is. Now, some people may disagree, but in my view, that's cosmetic surgery. Something that is not a need, but more so a want. Okay? And so that's just how I view that. Okay, so some of you all are saying no. Mel said, I think they should pay for their own cosmetic surgery. Yeah, because that's exactly what it is. And I have to agree. Okay, anyway, so with that all been said, we're about to be out of here in a minute, but hold on, because I want to tell you all about this cold case. I want to tell you all about this cold case, honey, because this man, now, first when I saw the article, they made it like the man just turned himself in. Like he just came to his senses and had felt guilt or whatever. A man by the name of Stephen Smirk turned himself in for a cold case, okay, that happened in 1994, where he murdered a mother, okay, who had a 2-year-old child. But no, it wasn't that he just had a guilty conscience. He had to turn himself in, or he was caught, basically, because his DNA was at the crime scene. And this is a cold case. Okay, so let's get into it. For our one moments in crime. Here we go.
Tonight, we're following up on a cold case that shocked so many people in this area. Stefan Smirk recently admitted to killing a Springfield woman in 1994. This went unsolved for decades until new technology tracked down Smirk in New York. And now we are hearing Smirk's confession for the first time in his own words. Our Matthew Torres got his hands on this chilling tape. It is a story all new at 6.
I knew that I was going to kill somebody. I did not know who I was going to kill.
Tonight, in this video confession obtained by WUSA 9,
Something inside me just compelled me to do it.
Stephen Smirk admitted to killing 37-year-old Robin Lawrence inside her Springfield home in 1994.
There's something came over me. I'm not going to say it. Voices in my head. I didn't hear somebody actually talking to me, but it was like this overbearing thought in my brain that I needed to kill somebody.
It's been nearly 2 weeks since the software engineer and veteran out of upstate New York pleaded guilty to first-degree murder. He confessed to Fairfax County detectives in September last year after a DNA company used family trees to help develop him as a suspect using these sketches. This video evidence has just been made public after Smirk accepted a plea deal, avoiding a trial.
It's almost bittersweet, but again, I have no feelings toward him because there's no empathy, there's no human. What feelings can I have?
Smirk says he was drinking the night he drove to the neighborhood where his friend lived in his first year with the Army in Arlington. He randomly picked Lawrence's home next door and got in through the sliding back door. Her 2-year-old girl was in another room when he attacked Lawrence in her bedroom, cutting the cord to her phone as she tried to call for help.
I just know that she begged for her life. She's down on her knees, and I got around behind her. I know she clawed at my face. I had a little bit of a scar here.
What did you use to kill her?
I used a cold steel Tonto knife. I cut her up pretty good.
Smirk could not remember the exact number, but police say Lawrence was stabbed 49 times using a knife he brought. In a bizarre connection, the victim's sister and her family lived in the exact same town where Smirk also lived for many years.
My heart hit the floor to know ever since I was 8 that the person that had murdered my aunt was living literally almost down the street from me. I had friends who I played with who lived next to him. So I could have been riding my bike. I could have bumped into him in a grocery store.
Smirk believed it was only a matter of time before he was caught.
I am a serial killer who's only killed once. Honestly believe that if it wasn't for my wife and my kids, I probably would be a serial killer.
For now, Smirk is awaiting his sentencing, which is scheduled in March. Under this plea agreement, he cannot be sentenced to no more than 70 years. He is eligible for parole. In Fairfax tonight, I'm Matthew Torres, WUSA.
Okay, so you all heard that, and that he's not a serial killer. He only killed once. Let me tell you something. I don't believe him. Okay, I don't believe him. I believe that he possibly could be a serial killer. Okay, because you heard the reason. He just wanted to kill a stranger that night. That's what he said. Isn't that what he said? He just wanted to kill a stranger that night. This is all crazy. The case went cold, but new DNA technology and sketch work helped Fairfax County detectives track Smirk down at his home in Niskayuna, New York in September of 2023. Okay, now during the interview with police, Smirk admitted to using his own knife to stab and kill Lawrence, who he remembered was begging for her life. He said, "Something came over me." That's what he told the detectives. "I'm not going to say there were voices in my head or hear somebody actually talking to me, but it was like this overbearing thought in my brain that I needed to kill somebody. I just had to kill somebody." So y'all mean to tell me y'all don't think he ever got that feeling again, that he only had it that one time on that particular night and he was able to control it for the rest of his time? I don't believe him. I believe he's likely killed a myriad of people, and we just haven't found out. Okay, and they wouldn't have even found out this had he not left DNA at the scene. Talking about something came over him and he just had to kill somebody. See, that's the serial killer's mind, because serial killers feel the urge. Okay, they have this incessant need to kill that they cannot control. So an insatiable urge. He says, "Something inside of me just compelled me to do it." Smirk said he had frequent thoughts of killing someone, which is why he decided to join the military. Because then you can kill for free. Okay, then you can kill legally. That's what serial killers do. They join the military, and some of them join, guess what? Don't make me say it, because you all already know. Some of them join the police department. Okay, I know y'all know that, right? Some of them join the police department, and some of them join the military. If you have an insatiable lust for killing, a bloodlust, that's exactly what some people do. So anyway, he says that's why he joined the military. He described being highly influenced by demons. Oh yeah, I have no doubt. He probably conjures them. This is how you know that he likely did this more than once. Okay? He's likely been doing it for decades. Because why did he even bring it up? Did they ask him if he was a serial killer? I don't think they asked him that. He just came out and volunteered that information, talking about, "I'm not a serial killer. I've only killed once. And if it wasn't for my wife and whatever," he said, "I'd be a serial killer." Sir, you likely are a serial killer. Okay? Who do you think you're fooling? Now, and here's another thing. Let me just tell you all something that I noticed. Something that I noticed is back in the 70s and 80s, when you see these news reports and documentaries about serial killers, you know why there were so many serial killers getting caught back then? Now, I want you all to really think about it. Do you all know, family, why there were so many serial killers getting caught in the 70s and 80s? And now you scarcely hear about serial killers getting caught, right? And then so you may be thinking, well, there's not a lot of serial killers in the United States like there used to be in the 70s and 80s. Yeah, there is. There's probably even more. You see, the difference is back in the 70s and 80s, the police and the media didn't have a problem letting people know, the general public, that there was a serial killer on the loose, or that the police suspected that certain killings were the handiwork of a serial killer. But now, as we can see specifically from listening to journalist Isaiah Carey, okay, from the Isaiah report, now we can see clearly that the police, for whatever reasons, don't want to admit when there is likely a serial killer on the loose. They will try to keep that information, walk it back, and try to tell us it's anything but. Okay? Now, do you know why that is? Because I really don't. I don't know why they do that, but that's clearly what they do. But so anyway, because there's no less serial killers now than there were then. There's probably even more, as I've told you, because serial killers, it's a whole lot easier for them now. Back in the 70s and 80s, they had to go out, get in their cars, ride around the streets looking and searching for someone to target as a victim, prowling out in the streets late at night. Now all they have to do is log onto their computers, okay? Find somebody on one of these dating apps. So anyway, goes on to say that something inside of me just compelled me to do it. He said he had frequent thoughts of killing someone, which is why he decided to join the military. He described being highly influenced by demons and later said he eventually saw a psychiatrist for about 6 years. When asked, Smirk claimed that he still knew what he was doing was wrong. He said, I've not killed anybody else, but I could be a serial killer. I honestly believe if it wasn't for my wife and kids, I probably would be a serial killer. Sir, I believe you are. So during the interview, Smirk described drinking that night and taking pills when he decided to drive to the neighborhood in Springfield where his friend lived. That friend happened to live right next door to Lawrence. He went through the sliding back door. Well, we know the rest. Stabbed that woman over 40 times, almost 50 times. Isn't that something? Now, in a bizarre twist, Ovens said she and her family lived in the same upstate New York town as Smirk. How crazy was that? Wasn't that really weird to find out? That was really interesting to hear that tidbit. Living in the same neighborhood with that devil. And so anyway, here's some more information. Now, they say when this occurred, the victim, Robin Ward Lawrence, who was 37 years old, she was an artist and a mother of a 2-year-old daughter at the time of her death. So on November the 20th of 1994, Lawrence's husband was away on business when Smirk, a 22-year-old Army private, then stationed nearby Fort Myer, broke into her home. He then brutally stabbed her 49 times. Lawrence's toddler daughter was left alone with her mother's body for 2 whole days before a friend discovered the scene. Can you imagine? Talking about he just had to kill somebody. He just had the urge. Now, in 2019, Fairfax County Police submitted DNA from the crime scene to a specialized lab that used genetic genealogy to build a family tree. This process eventually led them to Smirk. When investigators went to Smirk's New York home in September of 2023 to collect the DNA sample, he agreed. Before they had even returned to Virginia, Smirk called them and asked to talk. He then gave a full confession. In October of 2024, Smirk, now a software engineer, pleaded guilty to first-degree murder and was sentenced to 70 years. These are some very chilling details to find out what he was thinking and what he said. Okay. Mel said, how could he have lived with himself all these years knowing what he did? Because, beloved, he said that he was dealing with demons. So this man likely has no conscience. You think he cared that he killed that woman, honey? He didn't care. He went out, listen. The people that may feel sympathy or empathy about their crimes if they take someone's life would likely be someone who did it out of, a necessity to do so, like the person was trying to take their life and it was self-defense. Someone who didn't really want to take someone's life, they would likely feel sympathy and sorrow and it would bother them. They couldn't sleep at night. But someone who's a cold-blooded killer who gets in their car and goes out into the dark of night saying and thinking and knowing that I'm out here looking for someone to kill because I feel it in my bones. I just feel the need. I got to do it. Why would they feel empathy? Why would they feel bad about it? That's what they do. And I think, like I said, that man has done that a whole bunch. I bet you he's probably killed at least 5 people. At least. Now, he may not have killed as many as he would want to because of his family, his wife and children, not being able to make up excuses, who knows, or whatever, to get out of the house or hide the evidence, who knows. But I pretty much think that this man's been killing, especially when he says that he had the urge, he couldn't control it. You couldn't control it that night, but you could on other nights. Yeah, please. I don't believe that he just killed one person. I just don't. So anyway, with that all been said, let's talk about this father that killed all 4 of his children, and then we're out of here. Father charged with the murder of his 4 children. Now, he had a prior accusation of child neglect. This is so sad. What are people thinking? People out here just harming children, even their own. This is awful.
A man accused of killing 4 of his own children faces new charges. The bodies were discovered in the trunk of a car at a Johnston County home 5 months after the murders.
This is a horrific story. New in the last few hours, Wellington Dickens III appeared in court for the first time. He was denied bond and charged with 3 additional murders. Thank you for joining us. I'm Gerald Owens.
And I'm Ashley Rowe. The children were ages 6, 9, 10, and 18. Officials say their father called 911 and confessed to killing them. We have live team coverage of this tragic case with new reaction and insight into the family at the center of this. Let's begin with WRAL's Sean Gallagher live with new details in the investigation. Sean?
Ashley, we spoke to a family member of Wellington Dickens to learn more about who he is, an Iraq war veteran, a widower, and now an accused murderer in the deaths of his 4 kids.
The first matter we have before you, Your Honor, is Wellington Delano Dickens III.
Clad in a striped orange jumpsuit, Wellington Dickens heard the serious charges he's facing.
At this time, I'm going to order that the defendant be held without bond.
Charges the sheriff's office says he's admitted to. Monday night, Johnston County sheriffs say Dickens called 911, admitting he killed his children. Deputies found 4 kids dead inside the trunk of a vehicle in the garage at Dickens' home and believe they were there for a long period of time. According to charging documents, investigators believe the children have been dead since May 1st. Believed to be Dickens' biological children, ages 6, 9, and 10, and his 18-year-old stepchild inside. Dickens' 3-year-old son was found alive inside the home.
I haven't really had time to process it.
Dickens' great-uncle Charles Moore spoke to WRAL this afternoon, telling us Dickens is an Iraq war vet.
He was in the service and he had problems ever since he came back, I think.
Court records show Dickens married his wife Stephanie in 2015. A year later, they gave birth to a baby girl. According to court filings, WakeMed submitted a report of suspicion of abuse or neglect against Dickens and his wife that year, accusing Dickens and his wife of refusing medical care for their newborn daughter with jaundice. It's an accusation Dickens challenged and sued WakeMed over. Dickens' wife died in April of 2024 due to pregnancy complications, and now 4 of his children are dead, with law enforcement pointing the finger at him.
Like anybody else, I was just shocked, you know. You hear it talk of that happening to other people, but you just wouldn't think it would happen to one of your own.
And Dickens will be back in court here in Johnston County tomorrow. 3 of those additional murder charges were filed after his first appearance, so he needs to come back to hear those charges against him. But there are still so many questions about this investigation that we don't know yet. That's why we want to bring in Heidi Kirk right now up in Zebulon outside of Dickens' home. And Heidi, it has been a very active day up there.
Sean, an extremely active day. We've been here on the scene since about 12:30 this afternoon. And from our viewpoint, not much has changed. That investigation is still extremely active. Let me step out of the way and show you what we are seeing as of this moment. You will still see crime scene tape surrounding that house, multiple law enforcement officials also on the ground here, as well as the SBI. They've had it locked down pretty much all day long. Now, we have gone door to door down this entire street asking people what they knew about this family. What we've learned from almost everyone we talked to is that they were quiet and kept to themselves. A crime scene now active for close to 20 hours, drawing eyes from up and down this street.
It's definitely a horrible thing to happen. Wouldn't wish anything on this to anybody.
It hits close to home for Fran Mikowski.
I walk by that house almost every single day.
She didn't know Wellington Dickens or the rest of his family personally, but remembers when they moved into the house on Springtooth Drive.
I never saw a child outside playing. I never saw him mowing a lawn. The only time I ever saw them was the day they moved in. And even then it was you just get the feeling that someone's to themselves.
This is the home where law enforcement staged since yesterday. Within the hour, towing a silver sedan from the garage. The 4 children were found dead inside the trunk of a car last night, one alive inside the home. It's a family that's already experienced tragedy. Many neighbors remember a food drive circulating throughout the neighborhood after Dickens' wife passed away last year unexpectedly.
Everyone in this neighborhood reached out to him, and this is a very new neighborhood. I've been here 3 years. Most everyone else has been here about a year and a half, 2 years. There was an outpouring of what can we do.
Now she's wondering what else went on behind closed doors at this home in this normally quiet neighborhood. You just really can't imagine the feeling from these people that are on this street, looking out their window, watching this investigation play out. Now, one thing that every single person that we talked to today expressed to me is just concern about that 3-year-old boy who was found alive. Everyone is thinking about him tonight. Of course, we will continue to stay on top of this. Heidi Kirk, W Real News, live in Zebulon.
Our hearts are with that little boy. We sent this push alert minutes after we found out about the investigation. You can get important updates like this one with the WRAL News app. Just be sure to have your notification.
Okay, well, that is awfully sad. Prayers and condolences to the family, friends, and loved ones. Ages 6, 9, 10, and an 18-year-old stepson. This is really sad. Do you all think this man maybe had some sort of mental health issues? What do you all think? They discovered multiple bodies inside the trunk in the garage. They determined the remains had been there for a long period of time. According to documents, the crime happened in May. JCSO investigators believe Dickens killed 3 of his biological children and his stepchild. This is just absolutely heartbreaking. What is wrong with people? Here's another report. I'm going to go to that, and then we're going to move on. And D. Major Skelly says, Queen, Trump said he's ramping up nuke tests. Oh, yeah, he did. We'll talk about that in a second since you brought it up. Thank you for your insight to the topic and your contribution to the channel, beloved. Peace, love, and blessings.
A horrific story out of Johnston County. A man allegedly called 911 and confessed to killing 4 of his children.
Their bodies were found inside the trunk of a car. This all playing out at a home near Zebulon on Springtooth Drive near NC 39. Court papers revealing all 4 of those children, ages 6, 9, 10, and 18, had been dead since May.
Authorities found Wellington Delano Dickens III's youngest child, a 3-year-old boy, still alive inside the house, unharmed. We have live team coverage of this extremely disturbing case. Elena Athens is in that neighborhood. Dewan Hogard is at the Johnston County Courthouse. We begin with Elena tonight with new reaction from family members.
Yeah, Lauren, a towing company removed a Honda 2-door sedan from the garage just about an hour ago. I today had a chance to speak with one of the suspect's relatives. I briefly spoke on the phone with his sister. She was visibly or understandably upset over the phone and said she didn't really want to comment right now on what has happened at this house.
Because you just don't think a parent would want to do that to their kids.
38-year-old Wellington Dickens has been charged with killing his 3 biological children and teenage stepson. Law enforcement found the children's bodies in the garage of this home. They were all inside the vehicle's trunk. The Johnson County Sheriff's Office says Dickens called 911 last night and allegedly confessed to killing the kids. 6-year-old daughter Leah Dickens, 9-year-old daughter Zoe Dickens, 10-year-old Wellington Dickens, and 18-year-old Sean Bradsfield were found dead. We're learning their mother and Dickens's wife also passed away recently. She died in April of 2024 and, according to the obituary, passed away suddenly in her home. Eyewitness News is working to learn more about what happened in that situation. Folks that live in the neighborhood or are considering to move here are in disbelief.
It's definitely a horrible thing to happen. Wouldn't wish anything on this to anybody.
It's devastating. It's heartbreaking.
So federal court documents show that DHHS was apparently notified in 2016 about one of the children after the birth of one of those kids. The family says the hospital care that they had been receiving infringed upon their religious beliefs. We're live in Zebulon tonight. Elena Athens, ABC 11 Eyewitness News.
Okay, it is a tragic story. Someone asked if this happened in Georgia. No, this was in North Carolina, beloved. It happened in North Carolina. Okay, like I said, very sad. And there was problems all the way back to 2016. Okay, almost a whole decade ago. And now this. So, you know, very sad to hear about it. Like I said, prayers and condolences to the family. Okay, so with that all being said, hold on. I literally just pulled up the darn receipt. Hold on, hold on. Okay, here it is. Here it is. Hold on. Trump said he's ramping up nuke tests. Let's talk about it. I'm going to pull up this report. Oh my goodness, are you serious? I literally just had it pulled up. Now I'm so annoyed. Hold on, let me go back. Okay, here we go. I was about to say. I'm going to share my screen. He told the Pentagon, and this was reported about 5 hours ago by CNN. Trump instructs the Pentagon to start testing nuclear weapons. Lord, this is the last thing we need. For Trump to even be thinking or speaking on nuclear weapons is hella scary. Okay? I'm sorry. Now is the time to panic, folks. I promise you.
The president just posted this evening, a couple of moments ago, actually, on Truth Social, where he is talking up U.S. nuclear weapons in a new social media post. He said that because of other countries' nuclear testing, that he has, quote, instructed the Department of War to start testing our nuclear weapons on an equal basis. My source tonight is the former Deputy Director of National Intelligence, Beth Sanner. And Beth, I'm so glad that you're here because I want to just read this entire post from the president from a few moments ago, because I think there's a few things in it that aren't true. And I'm very curious for your thoughts on this, because he said at 9:04 p.m., as he's on the way in South Korea to go meet with Xi Jinping, that the United States has more nuclear weapons than any other country. He says this was accomplished, including a complete update and renovation of existing weapons during my first term in office. Because of the tremendous destructive power, I hated to do it but had no choice. Russia is second and China is a distant third, but will be even within 5 years. Because of other countries' testing programs, I've instructed the Department of War to start testing our nuclear weapons on an equal basis. And he says that process will begin immediately. First off, Beth, is what the president says in this post true? And secondly, what do you make of this announcement?
Well, you know, who has more warheads, nuclear weapons, Russia or the United States? Technically, Russia has a little bit more, but it also depends on how you count and what is an active warhead. And, you know, it gets kind of complicated. And I think that basically the United States and Russia are at parity. You know, if you can destroy the Earth, you know, many times over, it really, you know, we're talking about angels dancing on the head of a pin. And China being a distant third is true. But my big picture here on the nuclear testing is this is something that you know, real hawks like Ambassador Bolton really pushed for in the first administration, and the president didn't do that. And I personally believe that it is a bad idea to go forward with U.S. nuclear testing. And here's why. Sure that there are constraints on us. And, you know, there are people you can argue, you can have discussions about this. There are constraints by us not testing. But when the United States tests, you basically give carte blanche to everyone else. And the reason that we don't test is because we've tested more than pretty much everyone else. We did thousands, over 1,000 at least, tests during the Cold War. And we have computer simulations, and real experts say, like, we don't really need to do that. Do you know how many tests China has done? 50. We've done thousands, 50, or at least over 1,050. So when you say that we're going to test, you're now allowing China to test. And so when the president correctly says they're a distant third, what would allow them to catch up faster? Partly testing, because they haven't done as much. And so my view on this is, yes, we give up a little bit in terms of constraining ourselves when we have a test ban treaty and we uphold it. But when we break that, other countries who are our adversaries benefit more than we do.
Well, how does someone like Xi Jinping, who is on his way for his first face-to-face with Trump in 6 years, how does he read a message like that moments before they sit down together?
Okay, now I've heard enough of that. Basically, Trump says because of other countries' testing programs, I have instructed the Department of War to start testing our nuclear weapons on an equal basis. That process will begin immediately, he said. Russia is second and China is a distant third, but will be even within 5 years. Trump appeared to be sending a message to both Xi, the president of China, who has more than doubled China's nuclear warhead arsenal over the past 5 years, and to Russian President Vladimir Putin, who has tested 2 new nuclear-powered weapons over recent days. Russia, which has tested a nuclear-powered cruise missile on October the 21st, held nuclear readiness drills on October the 22nd, and tested a new nuclear-powered autonomous torpedo on October the 28th. They said it hopes Trump had been properly informed that Moscow had not tested a nuclear weapon itself. Now, they say President Trump mentioned in his statement that other countries are engaged in testing nuclear weapons. Until now, we didn't know that anyone was testing. This is what Kremlin spokesman Dmitry Peskov said to reporters. Putin, who commands the world's biggest arsenal of nuclear warheads, has repeatedly said that if any country tests a nuclear weapon, then Russia will do so too. So basically, this man's saying that they didn't know anybody was testing weapons. They said that Trump's lying, talking about Russia was testing weapons. But now, since Trump's come out and said it and told the Pentagon to go ahead and start testing, well, Russia's clearly going to start because they said that anytime they find out that somebody else is testing, Russia also starts to do so. They say no nuclear power other than North Korea, most recently in 2017, has carried out explosive nuclear testing in over 25 years. Post-Soviet Russia has never tested. The Soviet Union last tested in 1990, the U.S. last tested in 1992, and China in 1996. See how Trump's sitting up here lying? Now, China's foreign ministry called for the U.S. to abide by its commitment to a moratorium on nuclear testing and uphold the global strategic balance and stability. It was not immediately clear whether Trump was referring to nuclear explosive testing, which would be carried out by the National Nuclear Security Administration, or flight testing of nuclear-capable missiles. Later on his way back to Washington, Trump said testing was needed to ensure the U.S. keeps up with rival nuclear powers. Saying with others doing testing, I think it's appropriate that we do also. That's what he said aboard Air Force One, adding that nuclear test sites would be determined later. Now, as to whether the world was entering a more risky phase around nuclear weapons, Trump dismissed the threat, saying U.S. stocks were well locked up, but adding that he would welcome denuclearization. Denuclearization, okay? So then he says, I'd like to see a denuclearization because we have so many, and Russia's second and China's third, and China will catch up within 4 or 5 years. We're actually talking to Russia about that, and China would be added to that if we do something. Trump's decision follows a rapid expansion by China of its nuclear stockpile in recent years and came just after Russia announced that it called successful tests of the nuclear-powered and nuclear-capable cruise missile and nuclear-powered torpedo. Now, Trump addressed the Russian moves on his way to Asia earlier this week, telling reporters that Putin should be working to end the war in Ukraine instead of testing missiles. Trump is completely lost. He is such an idiot. China has more than double the size of its arsenal to an estimated 600 nuclear weapons in 2025 from 300 weapons in 2020, according to the Center for Strategic and International Studies, a Washington-based think tank. Now, it said U.S. military officials estimate that China would have more than 1,000 nuclear weapons by 2030. The Washington-based Arms Control Association says that the United States has a stockpile of 5,225 nuclear warheads and that Russia has 5,580. So Putin said on Wednesday Russia had successfully tested a Poseidon nuclear-powered super torpedo that military analysts say is capable of devastating coastal regions by triggering vast radioactive ocean swells. The Poseidon and the Burevestnik are nuclear capable and nuclear powered by the Russian test, but the Russian test did not involve nuclear warheads, according to the Kremlin. They say negative reactions to Trump's post. Representative Dina Titus, a Democratic member of the U.S. Congress from Nevada, condemned Trump's move, saying on X that I'll be introducing legislation to put a stop to this. Okay? And they said they're going to put a stop to this real quick. Now, Daryl Kimball, director of the Arms Control Association think tank, said it would take the U.S. at least 36 months to resume contained nuclear test underground at the former test site in Nevada. They say Trump is misinformed and out of touch. Yeah, he is. His dementia seems to be taking over. Same thing that they were so worried about Biden doing, saying that Biden's incompetent and he doesn't need to have the, the nuclear codes and all of that. Remember that? And now look at Trump. Look at Trump. Okay? So anyway, goes on to say that Trump is misinformed and out of touch. The U.S. has no technical, military, or political reason to resume nuclear explosive testing for the first time since 1992. That's what he said on X. And then Trump's announcement, he added, could trigger a chain reaction of nuclear testing by U.S. adversaries and blow apart the Nuclear Non-Proliferation Treaty. Exactly. And see, this is why he's so stupid. And why would he make this announcement knowing that if he says anything that's not true, he's going to be called out on it? But Trump is so narcissistic, he just tells these dumb lies and thinks, I guess he doesn't care if people call him out because he's just going to keep lying and double down. And as long as his base believes him, I guess that's how he feels. But some of them are starting to wake up, Trump. So now what are you going to do? So in August, Trump said he had discussed nuclear arms control with Putin and wanted China to get involved. Beijing responded by saying it was unreasonable and unrealistic to ask the country to join in nuclear disarmament the negotiations with the two countries since its arsenal was much smaller. Yeah, make it make sense. I mean, the United States has double what they have. Okay, so anyway. Mel said Trump believes his own lies. Of course he does, beloved. Okay, Mark said, if you ever wear a MAGA hat, you look like a buffoon. Okay, so with that all being said, now let's talk about Sonia Massey, because I know you all have heard by now that the officer Sean Grayson was convicted of second-degree murder. But Sonia Massey's family is not satisfied with that. They feel that he should have been convicted of first-degree murder. Okay, so they're not here for it. But let's go to this interview they did because they were on CBS Morning. Okay, here we go. Everyone, please like and share. And then I'll briefly go to what the attorneys had to say after.
Deputy charged with first-degree murder for shooting a woman who had called 911 was convicted on a lesser charge yesterday. Sean Grayson, he claimed he was defending himself from victim Sonia Massey. National correspondent Jerika Duncan is at the courthouse in Peoria, Illinois. Jerika, good morning.
Good morning to you, Nate. A jury of 8 women and 4 men deliberated for roughly 12 hours, and I was inside that courtroom when the verdict was read. The Massey family was silent. They said this was not justice, but a miscarriage of justice.
He was in 6 police departments in 3.5 years. That is shameful.
Sonia Massey's father, James Wilburn, was emotional and frustrated after Wednesday's verdict. Sean Grayson was facing 3 counts of first-degree murder, but a jury found him guilty on 1 lesser count of second-degree murder, sparing Grayson a possible life sentence.
He told my child he would shoot her in the effing face, and he did it. And all we got was a second-degree murder conviction out of this.
What do you need help with? The former Sangamon County Sheriff's deputy shot Massey down in her kitchen after she called 911 to check on a suspected prowler. Grayson testified that he viewed Massey's pot of boiling water as a threat and was trained to use force to gain compliance. The trial, which began last week, largely focused on disturbing body camera footage recorded by Grayson's partner in the early morning hours of the deadly 2024 incident. Prosecutors said Grayson failed to render medical aid to Massey right after the shooting. After the verdict, we sat down with Massey's father, cousin, and family friend.
To the Grayson family, what do you say to them?
I feel sorry for them. The mother came over and apologized, and she said, we did not raise him that way, and I'm really sorry for your family. My heart goes out to them. We lost Sonia, but they lost a son, and what he did for Sonia, he has to pay, and they realize that.
Earlier this year, Sangamon County paid out $10 million in a wrongful death lawsuit, although the family said they would give all that money back to have Sonia with them. Grayson is expected to be sentenced in January. He is facing up to 20 years in prison. Tony?
Jerika, thank you very much.
I have just a few brief comments.
So he's facing up to 20 years. And he's facing up to 20 years, and he needs to get every bit of it, okay? He needs to get every bit of it. Let's not talk about any 10 years like Amber Geiger, okay? He needs to get the whole thing, period. Now, we're going to briefly go to what the attorney said after the verdict was released. And then we're out of here, beloveds. Likes up.
Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you so much for being.
Hold on, beloveds. Sharon said, what? 20 years, that's all? Yeah, that's it. Because at the end of the day, beloved, they convicted him of second-degree murder rather than first degree, which he should have gotten first degree, in my opinion.
Here, and you also paying homage and justice to Sonia Massey. Before I begin with some remarks, it's undoubtedly that I have to thank some very, very important people who are not here at this microphone, who have played such an integral part in the representation of this fine and great family with the storied history in Sangamon County. First of all, it goes without saying, it's the Massey family. You look at this strength and show of support from everybody, the community, the family, and friends, the activists, thank you so much. It was a tremendous show of force, and we are so grateful. Secondly, the fiercest defender of civil rights in this country that I know, my brother, Benjamin Crump. Thank you, Ben.
Hold on, I had to stop because D Major just said, is he black? First of all, why does it matter? That's for number one. But for number two, you know darn well that man is not black. Okay, stop playing. Okay, you're looking at his hair, I think. No, I don't think he's black. I mean, he could be passing, but I doubt it. Okay, hope that helps.
For everything that you do, not only for the Massey family, but also for our country and defending people's civil rights. The Sangamon County State's Attorney's Office. Wow. They delivered the message to this jury, and their message is the one that the jury said, we rebuke you, Sean Grayson. That's what they said today. This second-degree murder charge, make no mistake, Sean Grayson is convicted of murder. He is a murderer now. This is not the exact outcome the family was looking for. They wanted first-degree murder. And when you boil this case down, it comes down to 4 words. Was Donna a threat? Sonia. Was Sonia a threat? No. The unequivocal answer is no. She was not a threat. She was never a threat. And that's what was proven in this court. The difference is that the jury found that there was some issue of self-defense. But his self-defense was not found to be reasonable, and that's the difference between the first and second degree murder. Sean Grayson, we disagree with this. He had the cover of that counter in between him and Sonia. He had the power of a gun. He had the strength of a badge and a shield. And what did he do with that strength and power? He told Sonia, who was holding a pot, I am going to shoot you in the face. That, ladies and gentlemen, is indicia of intent. And he carried out his intent, and he shot her exactly where he said he was going to. Not anywhere else, but right in the face. And that's where, as much as we respect the jury and this legal process and the courts and his honor for his instructions and his diligence, we still see it as a first-degree murder charge, notwithstanding the respect that we have for the jury and the process. Sean Grayson had cover. Sonia, 110 pounds in a nightgown, a foot shorter than Sean Grayson. God knows how much less she weighed, did not have cover. All she had was a pot of water, and she thanked Sean Grayson before he came in the house for watching out over her home. This was not just a random attack. He knew what he was going to do before he did it. He had the requisite intent. We have some speakers today. We have the family, and I'm so proud and honored of this family. And Summer is here also. Okay.
Y'all didn't even do what y'all just supposed to do.
We have Donna, we have James, we have Shantae, and Teresa Haley is going to speak next. Teresa is widely known in Sangamon County and Springfield for her advocacy and everything that she does for the citizens and the people of Sangamon County. And I'd like to introduce to you now Teresa Haley.
Yes, thank you, Tony.
Good afternoon. Today is a painful day for me and people who look like me, especially black females. As I said in Chicago, we can't call the police and feel safe in our own homes. That's what Sonia did. She called for help, you all, and she was murdered in her own home. This verdict was long overdue. It is not the verdict that we wanted, but he will pay. God will provide. Cancer didn't strike his body just to strike his body. He will pay. Sonia's family continues to suffer. Her children continue to suffer. And people say, hey, the kids got $10 million. What the heck is $10 million when you don't have your mama? They will give back the $10 million to have Sonia back. When we give it back, say her name. Say her name.
Those people are still hurt, honey. That money is not going to take away the pain that they feel from their loss that they have suffered, and especially her kids, just like they said. Okay, so anyway, my condolences to them. Prayers and condolences continued. And Sean Grayson, I hope you get exactly what you deserve as soon as you hit the prison door. Okay. So with that all being said, you all were talking about that lawyer. I looked him up. That man is as white as butter. Okay, in the words of Esther Roll. No, but seriously, I know, I think you all were talking about his hair and his olive tone complexion as to why DJ Big Six said, is he black? But nonetheless, his name is Antonio M. Romanucci, which lets me know that he's Italian. Okay, he's of Italian descent, and that's why he looks like that. Because y'all know Italians got a little bit of black in them from when the Moors invaded Sicily. All right, y'all know how that all goes down. That's why they have broad noses, dark hair, and olive tone skin. If you didn't know, now you do. Okay. Justin Tispe said he may be Jewish. Well, he could be, but that's an Italian last name, not a Jewish one. Okay, not a Jewish one. So with that all being said, I'm about to be out of here. I want to thank you all for tuning in. Everyone, please like and share, subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. Please double check and make sure you're still subscribed. Honey, they are unsubscribing y'all, okay, with a quickness. Okay, so I hope you enjoy the rest of this beautiful day. Each one teach one. That's how we grow and thrive. Do something productive, constructive, but never destructive. And always remember, beloveds, to keep the Most High first in your lives. Hold on. LeVar said, Queen, they all have black in them. Okay. So anyway, listen, I may be back, especially if there's some breaking news. Okay, so just, keep an eye on the channel. Till next time, beloved, I guess I'll talk to you all soon. And listen, make sure that you're sharing these videos, okay, that you're liking and sharing. All right, with that all been said, each one teach one. That's how we grow and thrive. Do something productive, constructive, but never destructive. And always remember to keep the Most High first in your lives. Peace.
Yo, Nick, hit him with that flavor. Gold all in my skin, God all in my blood. Kings all in my circle, you touch one of mine and you're done. They show no love for the queen, why you hating on me? Is it cause I'm free and I got Malcolm X in my jeans? I got dreams like King Luther, shed blood like Kunta. You ain't helping my people, I ain't got nothing to say to ya. I want all the smoke like hookah. Talking reparations, America won't be great until they give us compensation. I'm like, I'm the hottest right now. See a bunch of lames out here trying to jock on my style. They be doing too much. I'm the queen, it's too easy. It's like they all at Popeyes, how they be talking so greasy. I just sit back and laugh while these haters get madder. So nefarious how they don't want my pockets with cheddar. I tell them they can do better. These snakes in the grass can leave a bite on your ass, cause y'all be trusting too fast. I got my foot on the gas, other one on they necks. Dropping receipts on haters, you better show some respect. I'm never facing regrets, we only facing the threats. Running through every challenge like a relay, break no sweat. It's a cold game, so I got that blanket with me. Now that my people awaken, ain't no going to sleep. I do not play by my piece, this time I'm playing for keeps. You talking slick, but when I see you like them ends, we gon' meet. And I got gold all in my skin, God all in my blood. Kings all in my circle, you touch one of mine and you done. They show no love for the queen, why they hating on me? Is it cause I'm free and I got Malcolm X in my jeans and I got gold all in my skin, God all in my blood. Kings all in my circle, you touch one of mine and you done. They show no love for the queen, why they hating on me? Is it cause I'm free and I got Malcolm X in my jeans and I got